Might imagine a lot of voicemail, so let's head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Hi, this is Rico. For a week since Watson's been hurt, I've been tossing back and forth if I would give him another chance next year, mainly due to his enormous contract, and just maybe in year 4 he can finally turn it around. But I know it's only one game, but this game right here cements the idea that Watson's career is over here as a Cleveland Brown. Once again, another quarterback comes into the game versus a very elite Ravens defense and puts 29 points on them, over 300 yards passing, and gets a big win that we desperately needed. The Browns have had major success with other quarterbacks not named Watson. This proves that Watson does not fit here in Cleveland.
And Scott, I know you wrote an article again, Browns beat reporter for the Elyria Chronicle Telegram as well as BrownsZone.com. Do you think his days, Watson's days as starting quarterback, should be numbered? I do. I'm just curious. You're around it much more day in, day out than I am.
Yeah, I certainly think his time as the starting quarterback should be over. And, I appreciate what the caller said. I didn't need yesterday's game to cement that for me, but it certainly was more evidence on the pile that other quarterbacks have been more successful since Watson got here. Whether it was Jacoby Brissett playing pretty well in 2022 when Watson was suspended, to Joe Flacco and even P.J. Walker and DTR won a game last year. And then you see Jameis Winston come in and not miss a beat when Watson has, consistently missed beats and hasn't been able to be his former self, hasn't been able to run the offense like the Browns want. So, I understand the money issues, and those are real, and the salary cap issues are real. And I don't know if the Browns are going to be able to figure out a way to part ways with Watson, be it through a trade or cutting him. But even if they hang on to him, I don't think you can sell anyone on the idea of him being the number one guy next year. He just hasn't been on the field, and when he's been on the field, he hasn't been good enough. So I think whoever it is, whether it's a draft pick, whether it's Winston coming back, whether it's a veteran somewhere else, somebody has to be the number one entering next year, with Watson at best being the number 2.
Yeah, and the other thing you could end up doing is you could end up paying him. So you're paying him the salary. You don't take the dead cap hits, and he ends up not practicing, not playing, not doing anything. It's just a sunken cost of his contract.
Yeah, there's issues with that though, because the player has to agree to it. They changed that rule. I think it was Keyshawn Johnson back in the day with the Buccaneers, where they tried to just send him home, and they did. And then I'm pretty sure it's the union fought back on it. So if you remember the whole Odell Beckham Jr. situation a few years back, the Browns would have been fine just paying him and not having him around, but that wasn't going to work. So they had to either trade him or cut him. And so that's why I think it gets sticky. And maybe they can figure it out with Watson. But I don't think you can just tell him to stay home and we're going to pay you. They'd have to come to some kind of agreement.